I'm good. We are
Okay.
back again here after a very long time.
Yes, on live stream after a very long time.
Yes.
So, and both of us are holding Guineas. So let's get to it. Let's begin.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Pallavi. She's Ginny, and we are from Guinea's Planet. We are here today very excited to talk about the launch of our new storybook about Guinea. We have with us Dr. Shweta Verma, co founder of Guinea's Planet. Hi, Shweta, again. So,
Hi,
Shweta,
Pallavi, and hi,
without
everybody. Yeah.
Yes. So, Shweta, without further ado, let's talk about the new storybook and the author, illustrator, something.
Okay. So the new storybook is called Kuch Alag Si Guinea. And it's translated into English. And then it's called There is Something About Guinea. Uh, the book this one has been written by Vinita Krishna and illustrated by Suvidha Mistry. Translation from Hindi to English has been done by Manisha Chaudhary. All these three people are very well established in their field, and I'll talk more about them maybe later. But I mean, just with these names, I mean, you should feel excited, about the whole story and what this is about. And we'll talk about the whole series also as we move forward in this conversation.
Right. So, tell us something about the book.
Okay,
It's very
so
open-ended question, but yes.
yeah, very, very open. So, when we started Guinea's Planet, obviously Guinea Doll and Guinea Story series were going to be the core of, engaging children and grown-ups in conversations on diversity and disability in a very easy, friendly manner. So that was the whole point why this story series was anyway coming up. Like the previous storybooks, this time as well, Guinea is not, I mean, she's a child with disability, but the story is not about making Guinea inspiring for anybody.
Right.
All the stories of Guinea are drawn from real people, real life events, and the whole idea is to help people understand as to how Guinea, how she feels in different situations, how she navigates herself in new situations. And typically
Right.
in this book, in 2019, she was 4, now she's 8 in this story,
Wow.
and she's
Right.
a bit anxious about meeting new people. So in this story, you'll
Okay.
see what happens on this day when she visits a new family.
Okay. Sounds interesting. We've always encountered Guinea as four, and I think a lot of children are very curious to know that, is Guinea going to grow up? What happens with Guinea when she grows up? So I think this is going to be very exciting for children.
Yeah, and some parts of Guinea still remain the same. Remember, she wears
Yes.
spectacles, she wears brace,
Right.
she loves rain. So some of the elements obviously continue in Guinea's life even when she's 8. But you'll see obviously
Right.
new elements and some of her new interests also. When you read this book.
Right. All right. So, Shweta, tell us something more about the author, illustrator, and the translator.
So Vinita Krishna and Sangeeta Gupta, both of these people are the Ate Bate Tales team. And
Right.
if you've been in the workshop of Guinea's Planet or our flagship event A Day on Guinea's Planet, you would have definitely enjoyed, their storytelling and their activities with children and grown-ups. So because Vinita and Sangeeta know Guinea so closely, I mean, obviously they became our first choice, to write stories of Guinea this year, as it moved forward.
Right.
Vinita is, a well-known and award-winning writer. She's a special educator. She's also a storyteller and does a lot of trainings of other people also, into this
Right.
event. And of course, the podcast series, by Atevate Tales, which brings up very interesting stories.
Right.
Sangeeta and Vinita both do it together. That's also very, very interesting.
My daughter loves their podcast, and their
Hmm.
voices have that, zing to it. It's really nice to listen to, even for us as adults.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. So obviously, I mean, they are very appropriate. I mean, and Guinea is lucky to have stories written by this team. Um,
Right.
the illustrator Suvidha Mistry. I think we are lucky to have her. Because
Right.
since we began writing, Guinea stories and started working on them since 2019, we've been wondering as to
Mhm.
who would create Guinea in what format, and different illustrators have been working on creating Guinea in different forms. But
Right.
if you see Suvidha's illustrations, you will fall in love with those illustrations definitely. If you look at
Yes.
our upcoming social media posters or the ones that have gone by, and you'll know
Correct.
how good Suvidha is. So Suvidha is already a well-established illustrator, has already illustrated for many publishing houses, loves traveling, loves to do a lot. And of course, you'll hear more about Vinita and Suvidha also from themselves, as they will be
Yes.
talking to us, sending their videos. So we'll be posting those also very soon. And in this whole thing, Manisha is, of course, somebody, like bringing this book and turning into a reality is definitely Manisha and her team. Manisha
Okay.
is also a friend of Vinita, so again, we're lucky to have people working on Giri.
Right.
Manisha is already very, very experienced in the publishing world, was Pratham
Right.
with Pratham earlier, and
Okay.
has won awards for translation and other work. And so she is part of the editing team that's worked on this.
Mhm.
And we're hoping that the next part, there are three more stories coming up, so we're hoping
Wow.
the same team will work
Right.
wonders in the upcoming series as well.
Right. That sounds like quite the formidable team, and Guinea is lucky to have, them telling her stories and her experiences. So, Shweta, like you spoke a little bit about Guinea, but there are a lot of viewers, a lot of children who don't know Guinea yet. So, can you tell us a little more about Guinea?
um so some things I've already said, I'll just repeat them. So Guinea is a child who loves rain, who loves to play football, who was born with a condition called radial club hand. So, radial club hand are of different kinds. For Guinea, it meant that her right arm is shorter than the left, and she has to wear this brace to support her wrist. Um,
Right.
she wears spectacles to see the world better. She loves running generally. And as a 4-year old, I mean, and even as an 8-year old, she continues to be a curious child, who would
Right.
want to know, who would want to understand, who would want to learn, so all those
Right.
things. So she's somebody who would read up a lot, but also is very, very particular about having fun as much as possible. So that's about
Okay.
Giri as of now.
Right. Right. So, Shweta, as a child with disability, does Guinea feel uncomfortable or different?
Well, that's I mean, I can speak for Guinea. So,
Right.
Guinea, as when she was growing up, like in the early years, obviously she noticed that her body was different than the others, but that was not making her uncomfortable so much because
Right.
the comments from other people were also not so many. And
Mhm.
every time there were comments from other people, obviously, Guinea's parents and other people would also respond in a manner where this would not create stigma. But
Right.
as Guinea has been growing, and as she turned 8, obviously got more conscious of how people perceive her. And so now she's become a person as an 8-year old, where if people are accepting of how she is and who she is, then she's very
Right.
comfortable and very happy. But as soon as people
Right.
start pointing out about oh, you're not writing with right hand, or why are you not using this hand or that hand, or what has
Right.
happened to you. So when these kinds of questions come in, obviously that makes Guinea slightly uncomfortable,
Right.
although she knows the answers and she can give people answers, but obviously it can get tiring, like to be always watched and to be always seen as somebody different also becomes slightly uncomfortable for Guinea now as an 8-year-old.
Right. And I think all of us tend to feel comfortable, around people where we feel accepted for who we are.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's very important, and I think that's what you would see in
Yeah.
the story as well.
Okay. So coming back to the book, Shweta, how were the Guinea stories created, or what was the whole thought process behind creating these series? You're talking again and again, about the series, and this is the first book. There are more books coming up. So tell us a little more about the whole thought process which went behind this series.
Okay. So Guinea series started in 2019. The first book was called Where is My Kank in English and Kahan Hai Kank in Hindi, which is
Right.
drawn from 4-year-old child's life and brought into Guinea's life. So there are two parts to working on these stories. One is that why are we creating these stories? So one very important part is that we're trying to create stories that are fun, which show a child with disability in a context, but the whole idea is not to make people only focus on the disability, acknowledging that
Right.
that exists, but at the same time looking at how story is evolving into something else, and that is also part of the focus. uh, from this year onwards, we are also very particular that this each storybook will come with a note for parents and teachers, because we've
Okay.
already had many interactions with people in different stalls and events, and we've heard from parents how uh, they are very uncomfortable sometimes also bringing up the idea of disability, because many parents believe that this
Right.
is something sad or tragic, something that is not
Right.
easy to be introduced. So we're also making
Right.
this very heavy effort to make the whole process easy, through the
Right.
stories and through dolls, of course, but also at the same time we create content and tools for teachers and parents to bring these
Right.
conversations up. So each storybook will have a note for parents and teachers. Of course, for teachers
Right.
we also have educators kit on diversity, which helps them do whole
Right.
thing in a very interesting, fun manner. But story series of obviously is supposed to be making the conversations easier, but in a very fun and non-inspiring
Right.
way. Like, we don't want to inspire people
I
at
think
all.
that's really great, Shweta, because as a parent, even I keep looking for resources to talk to my daughter, and especially with the correct terminology, because very often, like you said, in a non inspiring and in a fun manner, which is child appropriate also, but you also do use the correct terminology for it.
Yeah. And the other part of Guinea series is that, so since the very beginning, I mean, I was very clear that even if the stories sound fictional, they're actually drawn from real people and real lives. So
Right.
where is my Kank was drawn from my son's event. He was looking for Kank,
Okay.
and that was converted into this whole story. And same you will see with all the stories. So what we
Right.
started doing was that in 2019 we started interviewing people with disabilities, children with disabilities, their families,
Right.
and then those interviews were transcribed and shared with the author team, in
Right.
this case, Sangeeta and Vinita. And from those stories they created the series that is now coming up
Okay.
in 2023. So this is the second series, so to say. First series
Right.
came up in 2019, 2020, and then with how things were, since lockdown,
Right.
now we're coming back with the series, and this time we have four stories. The first one is getting released now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to look forward to in the coming year.
Yeah. And I know that, I've been told many times by people that, but why don't you bring like four stories together and then distribute
Right.
and then talk about it? But for me, the thing is that, okay, one is ready right now. Let's talk about that
Right.
as well. Why should we wait for four
Correct.
all storybooks to come in to start talking about Guinea?
Yes. 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 All right. So now that we've spoken so much about the book, Shweta, when is this book launching?
So the book is here, and the launch officially is happening multiple times. Because we thought that
Okay.
it's not possible to bring everybody in one place.
Right.
We are still planning the online launch, so that is still not decided. But the offline launch events
Okay.
are happening in Delhi, and the list is going to continue. But the first launch event is going to be, on 18th Feb, at
Right.
Shopno Icon Studio. So Shopno Icon also is
Okay.
a very wonderful group of people who do theater and also a lot of other work with kids.
Right.
So they obviously became our, like, one of the first choices, to plan this.
Right.
So on 18th Feb, you can join us at their studio in CR Park, 6:30 to 8:30. It'll be fun, interesting, and of course, you can come go back with the story book. We'll have to
Right.
buy them, of course, but still, that's the place where you will also meet the author and illustrator. The next event is on 26th Feb. Here we are doing a slightly different, in different style. So the idea
Okay.
is to discuss, so this is more for grown-ups and adults.
Okay.
And here
Okay.
we are doing book discussion of Guinea book, but also there are two other books in the Grit series, um, you
All
know,
right.
um, by Feroz and Jagannathan. So these are graphic books. So
Right.
Sania Sadek, who is also a good friend, but also an assistant professor in Delhi University, she's read these books. She's going to read them, talk about them, discuss
Okay.
them. I'll lead the panel and I'll take the discussion forward. So that's a more of a different kind of book launch done in a
Correct.
slightly different manner, because the idea is also to bring people into the discourse on disability writings and how
Right.
they are
Right.
variety. And one is Guinea, which is of course for
Yes.
children very clearly are storybooks, but then there are also other
Yes.
books that are for adults. So and
Correct. Right.
graphic is also a very interesting way to bring the conversation forward and stories of people forward.
Right. So I think people in Delhi NCR should try and make it to these two events and any more which get added on, which we will be sharing on our social media pages. So how can we order this book, Shweta? From where
So
can we order? How can we order, get this book?
So the easiest thing, if you want to do it for right from home, then just go to guinnessplanet.com, go to our shop section or product section, and just place your order. If you want to order them in bulk for our partner NGOs, some of our partner NGOs, they run homes for children, and we want to also organize storytelling and book reading events there.
Right.
If you want to sponsor that, you can again place the order in the same manner, but also write to us saying that we've placed, but this is for our partner NGOs. Um,
Right.
Now, but of course, if you're coming for these events, then just buy the book physically from these events.
Yeah.
That will also be great. It will also save the courier costs and stuff.
I think that sounds like a lot of fun to come with the children and then see the book
Yeah.
and physically and then buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
18th Feb event is definitely for children and
Sure.
adults, but
Yes.
26th Feb event
26
is
is for
primarily for adults, and there will be
right.
more added to the list which will be coming up for children. So yeah, do stay
Correct.
tuned.
All right, Shweta. And Shweta, which languages can we read this book in?
So right now Hindi and English. So Kuch Alag Si Gini is Hindi, and
Yes.
the story was originally written in Hindi and then translated. So, and in English,
Right.
it's there is something about Guinea.
Okay. And Shweta, which is your favorite part about the book?
Well, so I'm not going to reveal much, but
So
but
we are
my
trying to
favorite.
fish for information.
But yeah, because for the world that's watching this,
Yeah.
Guinea's Planet team also has not read Guinea's story. I've not shared
Yes.
it with them. So we are keeping things like secret even with the team, uh, just to make the fun, very evident when people finally read it. So I think my favorite part was, where uh, so Guinea from the very beginning has been fairly imaginative, like in the previous story, and
Right.
she continues to be sad. So this story brings that forward, like she's Guinea's visiting this family, and then rain happens, and we know that how Guinea loves rain.
He loves rain.
But
Yes.
then the part where she's enjoying the rain and how and what happens then,
Right.
and the whole imagination part, how that comes live, that's my favorite part of the story.
Okay. That's great, Shweta. We are really looking forward to reading the book, including us. From the few illustrations we've seen, we are like really, really waiting. So this was
Yeah.
my way of also getting more information about the book.
So I
Yes.
hope everybody is gearing up to read it.
Yes. Yes. All right. So you know that you can order the book from Guinea's Planet website or visit the two events that are happening. So people in Delhi NCR, do try and make it to the events. The 16th Feb one is with the children and 26th is only for adults. So do try and make it if you can. And before we sign off, we also want to tell you that we are running a campaign called Love for Sustainability. These are our Valentine packs. There are gift packs which like show your love for sustainable and eco-friendly products. Love your planet, love us and support support our causes by buying these Valentine packs from us. So they have chocolates, they have soap made by Goli Soda, then we have Guinea mug with our tagline illustrated on it, and we have the intro booklet of Guinea. So do check it out on the product section of our website, www.guineasplanet.com. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye,
Bye
Pallavi.
bye.